You chose absolutely right tuning in to Rwanda Television tonight. A very good evening to you and a warm welcome to our edition. These are the headlines. The government of Rwanda is set to launch the sports betting policy.
The Rwanda Revenue Authority started to reward citizens who requested for EBM receipts and to those who informed of sellers who do not use them.
We highly recognize and appreciate your company tonight on Rwanda Television News. My name, as always, is Sam Kalisa.
And mine, Martina Evera.
How are you doing, Martina?
I'm very good. How was your Thursday?
Very, very great.
Okay.
Yes, as we started off.
Yes, kicking things off, the government of Rwanda is set to launch the sports betting policy. This follows the transfer of supervision responsibilities for this business from the Ministry of Trade and Industry to Rwanda Development Board. We have more on this report.
The sports betting sector in Rwanda has been steadily growing, with the government implementing appropriate control measures. In June this year, a Prime Minister's order placed the betting business under the governance of the Rwanda Development Board, RDB. With the establishment of the policy governing the sector, betting firms are hopeful for positive changes in their operations. We want clear measures to be established to limit ineligible people from betting, but also reduce the disorder. We want institutions in charge to be closer to betting companies so that we can discuss and share ideas on better operationalization. The lack of specific and permanent governing body over betting companies often led to disorder and tax evasion cases. Such issues resulted to the transfer of governing responsibilities to the Rwanda Development Board, as well as the establishment of the betting business policy. The Ministry of Trade and Industry indicates that the policy is expected to address various issues hindering the business. A lot is being done to establish the new betting sector policy in Rwanda. When the policy is completed, it will provide the guidelines for better operations of the betting business. The betting sector plays a role in the country's economy, as statistics from the Ministry of Trade and Industry indicate that between 2013 and 2019, it earned 264.3 billion Rwandan francs. In the same period, the sector created over 2,000 jobs. The Rwanda Revenue Authority indicate that in the last year, 2023, over 21 billion Rwandan francs in taxes were collected from the betting sector. From the above collected taxes, 2.4 billion Rwandan francs were collected from gaming activities. The betting sector also generated more than 2.1 billion Rwandan francs into the government's social security case through pension savings. Moving ahead to other matters, the Rwanda Revenue Authority started to provide a package, a package worth 300 million Rwandan francs to citizens who requested for EBM receipts and those who informed of sellers who did not issue them. Prince Mazi brings us the details.
At midday, Emmanuel Nahayo, a construction engineer in Kigali City, received a 200,000 Rwandan francs amount on his mobile phone. This is as Nahayo registered himself in the system rewarding those who request EBM receipts, but he never believed that this reward would be given. I usually requested receipts and I enforced after hearing of the 10% reward. At least 190,000 were given to me, and in the system there's around 400,000. They told me that this is the amount for the first quarter. I do not blame those that think that this is not true, because I also thought like that, but now I can say that it is true. I witnessed it. Registering the system, it is by pressing *800# and following the terms and conditions. At least 25,000 people across the country registered. In these, 8,000 received a reward package including 10% of the value of the products worth on the EBM receipts and 50% of the penalty given to the seller reported for not issuing the EBM receipts. 310 million Rwanda francs collected in the first quarter of 2024 are being distributed, whereas on Thursday, 91 million were distributed. The Assistant Commissioner in charge of the Taxpayer Services and Communications Division, Paulin Witonze, emphasized that this aims at closing the gap in taxation. We saw that many did not provide EBM receipts for final consumers, and this leads to us, as the Rwanda Revenue Authority, lacking information on the VAT which is paid by the final consumer. This was a great loss, and that is why this ministerial order was initiated for the Rwanda Revenue Authority to monitor the VAT payment through the final consumer and also provide the reward. The Rwanda Revenue Authority urges sellers to provide EBM receipts, as it is at the end of the day a tax paid by a final consumer, but again, buyers were urged to make it their responsibility to prevent tax evasion. What it means is that many are not yet registered, many are not yet requesting EBM receipts, and over 8 million people were rewarded. And what is there is that everyone is allowed this reward only by registration. If we are counting 280,000 receipts, that is a lot of receipts, and we believe that the number of those registered will increase and receive their rewards. The ministerial order of March 8, 2024 determines the reward based on the value-added tax, and the reward is provided through mobile money and bank given by the consumer. This reward is given not later than 15 days after the tax declaration by the seller.
Experts in the field of child health have highlighted the consequences of mothers not breastfeeding their babies. They emphasize that mothers should always be encouraged to breastfeed, as it promotes both the love and growth of the baby. They say August 1st marks the start of the International Week of Breastfeeding. Irakoze Cedric has the report.
Many parents agree that when they are breastfeeding, they feel special joy and love for their babies. We look each other, me and my baby, whenever I'm breastfeeding, and she looked like she wanted to talk to me, and I felt so good, and she also put her hand in my mouth by thinking that we are in the same action. It feels so good mostly when you look your baby at face. It really gives a joy because you all laugh together and make some conversations. Pediatrician at Polytechnique du Plateau, Dr. Habimana Hassan Ali explains that breastfeeding is beneficial for both the mother and child. Breastfeeding is very important for both sides of a mother and baby. A research shows that it protects mother from different diseases, and after giving a birth by surgery, breastfeeding stops bleeding. On behalf of baby, it increases the love of baby and mother. Through breastfeeding, a baby finds a lot of vitamins, water, sugar, and others. At least a baby should breastfeed between 2 and 3 hours. The International Breastfeeding Week is celebrated every first week of August every year. According to the World Health Organization, this week is dedicated to the importance of breastfeeding and to encourage everyone to care of every breastfeeding mother. Cedric Irakoze, RTV News.
Thank you, Cedric, and we'll keep it to health matters. The University Teaching Hospital of Kigali, CHUK, has received a new endoscopic ultrasound machine which provides detailed images and information about the digestive tract and surrounding tissues and organs. The hospital management promises that this advanced technology will accelerate the treatment process by enabling early cancer detection and staging, potentially eliminating the need for additional tests. We do have the details with Olive Nete.
The endoscopic ultrasound machine is part of the new equipment recently provided to the hospital by the Ministry of Health, which has distributed various advanced medical devices to hospitals across the country. Unlike the previous equipment that performed tests solely on the gastrointestinal tract, This new machine combines endoscopy with ultrasound, a non-invasive diagnostic technique used to image the body's interior. In addition to its endoscopic and ultrasound capabilities, this machine can perform diagnostic imaging similar to scanners and MRIs, making it more efficient for diagnosing and evaluating delicate diseases. It is also particularly effective for identifying and assessing gastrointestinal pathologies such as pancreatic cancer, bile duct stones, and other abnormalities. Dr. Dadamesi Innocent, a gastroenterologist, a pathologist, highlights the machine's ability to determine the stage of cancer, facilitates early treatment, potentially improving patients' outcomes.
L'écho-endoscopie, puisqu'on parle de cet appareil qui est nouveau, c'est un examen qui a, qui est très performant.
Endoscopic ultrasound, since we are talking about this new device, is an examination that is very effective in determining the evolutionary stage of cancers. This will help everyone. Firstly, the patients, then the surgeon, the oncologist, and the radiotherapist. We want to treat patients very precisely, similar how it is done in the West, and this examination will complement the full range of diagnostic tests we have, such as endoscope, colonoscope, CT scans, and MRI. Endoscopic ultrasound helps to determine, as I mentioned, the evolutionary stage of cancers of the esophagus, pancreas, and the terminal part of the colon, that is the rectum. By adding endoscopic ultrasound to CT scans or MRI, we can determine whether patients are immediately operable or if additional treatment is necessary before or after surgery.
Les malades sont d'emblée opérables ou est-ce qu'il faut faire un traitement complémentaire avant ou après la chirurgie?
Dr. Nyundo Martin, the head of clinical services at the University Teaching Hospital of Kigali, points out that this machine will enable the hospital to provide faster services to patients in need, reducing the number of people who seek these services at other hospitals. He also emphasized that as a teaching hospital, it will assist in imparting knowledge to students.
It will help us to shorten the diagnostic process, but also to take quickly biopsy if it's indicated, and to get the diagnostic and to treat the patient immediately. This new equipment will help us to train our fellow in the gastroenterology specialization.
The University Teaching Hospital of Kigali emphasizes that offering these advanced services will attract patients from neighboring countries, as there are few countries in Africa with such machines. The hospital's endoscopy services currently receives more than 20 patients per day. Olive Nete, RTV News.
Thank you, Olive, for that report. Moving on to the agricultural sector, the youth who participated in the agricultural exhibition believe that the future of this sector lies in their hands. They are confident that their involvement will significantly contribute to the development of the agriculture and animal husbandry in Rwanda. Adam Squizera with more.
Hodari Ngerero, one of the participants in this year's agriculture exhibition, demonstrated how farming can be effectively done on a small land with the support of a clear consultancy and advisory team.
We help farmers, professional farmers or farmers who want to turn into professional farming to know opportunities, available opportunities in the agriculture sector. Like agriculture sector is a sector which requires a huge investment. So for people who are interested, we link them to potential funders where requirements are too much. Some of them get tired with what are the requirements, but we are there to help, to accompany them through the whole process, so that when they dream of doing agriculture as a business, as a lucrative business.
Hodai, along with other young participants showcasing the agriculture and animal husbandry activities, highlighted several obstacles that hinders their progress.
Agriculture is, when you want to do agriculture as a business, it requires a huge investment. So the majority of the youth do not have that investment to start. So most of them do not want to venture into agriculture because they don't have that investment, or maybe they lack knowledge. Some of them consider that agriculture is something which does not provide enough income, but that's not true. Once you start doing your business, in your agriculture business, you can export, you can even supply in the local market, but you can be wealthy by doing agriculture.
However, based on the government programs related to the development of the agriculture sector, this youth believes in the future of this sector.
With the efforts the government is putting in youth and in the agriculture sector at the same time, youth are very encouraged. We encourage youth to come.
This year's National Agriculture Show will focus on showcasing on various agriculture technologies meant to fight effects of climate change.
Thank you, Adams, for the report. And moving ahead, research has revealed that women's projects often do not receive adequate funding due to insufficient knowledge and capital. We do have the details with Katia Ineza.
Women in Rwanda comprise 86% of the agricultural sector, and the majority are smallholder farmers. The majority respondents, 91%, strongly agreed that limited livelihood opportunities make it harder for women to adapt to climate change, which also reduces their resilience. Dative Nakabonye owns 6 hectares with 2,000 avocado trees, which is currently being affected by drought due to the lack of sufficient resources for irrigation.
We are doing smart agriculture and avocado farming for women in rural, and we have 6-hectare plot of land. It's big, and we have like 2,000 avocado trees. They are now getting dry because this is a dry season, and it is not easy for us to get the irrigation. It is not easy for us to get irrigation. The project which is there, which is in Nihuye district, providing support, is requesting the contribution of the owner of the project. But for us, as women in rural at the grass level, it's not easy for us to get this matching grant.
A recent study demonstrates that women are more clueless of climate information than men in all provinces of Rwanda. This gap may be associated with the participation in social groups as means of communication of the information, where women are far behind than men.
We still have a very big gap when it comes to projects from women's. First of all, the capacity is still low. We still have a very low capacity from women. And also donors, I don't know if I may say that, they don't really trust women projects. They feel like there's something missing. And there's a lot of documentation which is needed, and yet people are still starting the project, are still learning, are still building their capacity. Why do you have to ask a lot of exigence when you know people still need more capacity to build themselves?
Adam Bradford, the co-founder and CEO of an East African company that focuses on sustainable project development, believes that financial funds are available for environmental protection, including women's protection.
It's absolutely worth it. We should be investing in women. They are the future. They're bright, clever, amazing. There's no reason that they can't do the same careers and make the same impact that men can. There's no difference between the genders. It's just old societal attitudes that make it the way that it is. And yeah, there's no reason why we should not. So as an example, I think it starts from education. So for instance, in the work that we're doing on carbon trading, we're trying to make sure that in the balance of beneficiaries that we have, we try and have as many women as possible involved in the project, whether it be beneficiaries or working behind the scenes or working in the team. It's important. Unfortunately, these industries are very male dominated a lot of the time, and a lot of farmers and people in the field are men. But that needs to change. We can go right back to school and try and get people to know that there are career options here, there are opportunities to make a business or make a better life for yourself and others in these sectors, and it's just something we need to continue to work on.
In 2021, over $720 billion invested globally in environmental protection projects. African projects received $29.5 billion, representing 11% for the required projects. $2.4 billion is dedicated to the civil society in Africa, and $43 million for women's environmental protection projects. The Development Bank of Rwanda, BRD, was granted $100 million to facilitate access to capital for environmental protection projects during the 28th International Conference on Climate Change. Inez Aketia, RTV News.
And that's all from us here at RB's Rwanda Television News. On behalf of the entire news production that made it happen, thank you very much for being with us. My name stays Sam Kalisa.
And mine, Martina Avera.
And I'll say up until next time.
Stay safe.
And have a great evening. Goodbye.